Approve and sign the warrants for payment due August 26, 2014.
So moved.
Second. Any questions from the board? All in favor? Opposed?
All set, Gary.
Approve the selectmen's meeting minutes of August 18, 2014. Second. Any comments from the board? All those in favor? Those against? 5-0. All right. Approve and sign the ambulance adjustments from 8/11/2014 to 8/26/2014 for East Millinocket in the amount of $2,934.67. And the ambulance adjustment for Lincoln for the same period for $6,904.15. Second. Discussion from the board. All those in favor? All against? 5-0.
All set, Gary.
Board of Committee. Mark, you got anything?
Nope.
Good. Next, we're moving on to municipal budget cuts. First thing I want to talk about tonight, and one department we haven't talked about, and I went down and discussed with Brian, is the rec department. Does anybody feel that we need to win cutting in there? The only thing we really got left in there is salaries. Most of the other rest of the school. Kelley?
Yeah, we've already set out this year on the pool, and that is the big chunk of the rest budget line. So, we don't really know what else we have.
All the other programs we got for the rest of the year in the rec department, they generate their own revenue to run those programs. But
Like Kelley said, the biggest portion of the rec is spent on the pool, and that's already done with. The citizens approved the budget. I would recommend we leave that alone and let it get addressed next year. So be it.
I wanted to bring it up because it's a real spot that we got to talk about much. So I didn't sit down with Frank to talk about it. So, anything you want to Frank?
I was just going to say, really sorry what you said. The recreation budget is $90,000, 72 of it is taxation money, and you're right. Salaries and pool make up $66,514. The remainder of the budget, the recreation budget, all the programs and everything else, is $5,800 for office, everything else, okay? The $17,000 we bring in programs are done by Jody and myself and all of you. Yes, go.
No, I was just gonna say that right now, where we are right now, I don't think we're gonna get cut. Going forward in another year, I mean, every department will probably have to be looked at again. And at that time, when we have to try and figure out something different, I don't know. But at this point, in the year, we've already spent the largest portion of our.
That's why in May, and I know the board, I think they can remember this, I came to them to make sure and ask, do you want me to open that pool in June? Because we did it, and she said, at that time, she said, yes, we did. So, that money's gone. So what's left is salaries and the regular program.
The only other thing I want to say, going forward, from this point on, in another year, you know, we're cutting everything. We've cut some at Public Works, some at, transfer station, some at fire, school, we're cutting everything. So, is it gonna come to time for that? I don't know. You know, I fight for kids, and I always have. I want programs for kids. I hope that our public sees where we are with our budget and sees that we're trying to be really responsible on both sides of the town. And I hope that people will go forth with me and do the right thing by our kids and by our taxpayers.
Mark?
At one point, we used to fund all the programs. We've been cutting Frank's budget for the past 5 years. Most towns our size have a recreation department. We've partnered up with Millinocket. It's one of the things that's worked with Millinocket and Medway. Besides just the services in town, Frank also writes all the grants for the snowmobile clubs and does a lot of work on the outside doing just that, which also helps the economy in the area. We've got a beautiful pool. Some of the kids that are using that pool don't have a chance to go other places and go out to the lakes, and they also serve meals up there all summer, and Frank will give us a tally probably at some point. It's probably the only meal some of those children get. So, Frank, thanks for making the major cuts that you've made in the past, and I'm in favor of the rec department, and we've already cut enough there.
Okay.
Frank had a question.
The meals that we offered this year, I believe when the town consulted between the three communities, it's going to be over 4,000 will be offered in the 6-week period. They're eating on site. It's been an excellent program. Joey, you can tell me, I think this is the 4th or 5th year we've done this.
Like 6, I think.
6, okay. And it's worked out real well. But the other program that we tend to forget about, that I've said for years, is not just the young children that use the pool or the other programs in the especially today, we are the only place in the three communities that are young people, 15, 16-year-olds, that are supposed to work in the train, more. I don't know any place else that does it.
Okay, the other budget cuts we got here. Tonight I'd like to finalize these three budget cuts, and we're going to start off right with administration salary. We figured a total of $35,924. That's between some of the salaries of the town clerk being paid by ambulance and leaving of the administrative assistant. My thoughts on this, and this is either way we can cut this, because later on we're going to talk about hiring, filling part-time administrative assistant. Do you want to cut all of it? Because we may have, if we do cut it,
I guess I like where you've got it, Gary. That allows us a chance to do some trial and error here and not totally break the bank. Hopefully we can make things work within the office and maybe cut the rest of it or keep part of it as a stipend to somebody that has to fill that seat. I don't know, but you look like you're about half of it, maybe a little more, and I think that's a good start. I don't think this town can afford a full-time administrative assistant, so I'm in favor of what you've got there, Gary.
You know, Mark?
I'm also in favor of that, Gary, that's fine.
Kelly?
Yeah, no longer used to say that you don't need somebody full time, something like 5 hours a week, and that time I can also certify for that.
So I'm going to make a motion, we got the administrative salary for $35,924.
Gary, excuse me. Are we making a motion that we bring this to vote to the citizens after, when we do the school referendum vote, or our next town meeting?
Yeah, what this is, we make the cuts, then once we get the cuts made, next week, we will go to put it back out to warrants to the town.
Correct, okay.
And then we have to get the warrants written. The warrants have to be written just a little bit different than what you would do at an original town meeting, but you're cutting money that you've already approved to spend. So they're going to be written just a little bit different.
I'll make a motion, Gary, that we cut administration salaries line by $35,924.
I'll second it. Any other questions? Kelly?
Yeah, so what is the total that you're keeping?
Keeping in the budget, Shirley had paid because her salary and $12,000 for part-time person. We keep about $23,000 we have to keep in that line. Any other questions from the board?
That would be enough if we have to go.
No, that won't be.
Yeah, that's why
We won't
I
be.
don't think we should cut this amount. I think we should wait until we can cut it at some point, or can't. I don't think we should cut this amount. That's what I thought I said. Maybe I misunderstood the way I said it.
Any other questions from the board? All right. Vote in favor of the cut, $35,924 from the administration budget. All those in favor? All those opposed? 5-2. 3-2. 3-2, sorry. How's that? All right. Fire department. We had $1,500 in the cut there. That was in supplies. I think everybody was okay with that.
Gary,
Yes.
have you reviewed that with the chief?
Yes, I have.
All right, I'll make a motion, we cut that fire department by $1,500.
I'll second that.
Any discussion from the board? All those in favor? 5-0. All right, capital improvements for a cut of $17,500, $12,500 from the bailiff, and $7,000 from the copier. $5,000 from the copier. So it'll be $17,500. What?
Have you actually gone with one of the girls, Gary, and looked at the copier at the school?
No, I haven't. But the other girl said it's,
Have they looked at it, though?
they haven't looked at it.
Okay.
It's just not what they do need. I mean, at this time. Yeah, but,
The $2,000 is going to be a copier lease then?
yeah.
Okay.
We were, leave that still under capital improvements, and then
power broom, that was coming from surplus?
That's coming from surplus.
Okay. Is that the only item on here that's coming from surplus?
Yes.
And everything else will be
Yeah.
reduced by what we're going with the, okay.
So the motion would have to be 17,500 from capital improvements and $5,656 from surplus.
I'll make that motion, Gary, as you stated it.
Okay. And I'll second it. Any comments from the board?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What was the article for the town then?
Yes. Now, all this will go with articles.
But this particular one?
Yeah.
Separate?
Yeah. So, all in favor? Opposed?
Is that 5-0, Gary?
Yes. 5-0. Next, department was employer funds, and at $7,000, surely they found that. That was under the health insurance. So, I think we got like $7,000 because the people we have laid off are not working. But
I'll make the motion, we reduce the employer funds by $7,000.
I'll second. Comments from the board? All those in favor? 5-0. Next one, hot dog. Being cut by $32,477. Any excise tax on public works is reliant on 2 hot dogs. Any comments from the board? Mark?
Steve, probably a lot of spots in town that need to be done this year. And I guess the reason I'm saying that is because if we let that go another year and not do those spots, it's going to could cause some major damage, right?
We're getting small load patching the best we can. It's a patch. We're on mostly a patch. But we'll work with what you folks do. It's getting a little late to bid off for a big open command. May possibly be able to get done, but it's getting late.
Kelly?
Steve, last year, there was leftover excise, right?
You talk excise or paving?
No, excise. Did it not have hot top?
We actually have 8,000 left.
Okay. Is that the one for hot top?
I don't think it might be that.
Okay. The other thing I want to say is when we had, tax assessor here, Bill, and he was talking about this being a particularly hard year for us. And that, maybe we can't pave the road this year. And, it is a particularly hard year for us. And I guess I'd like to go with his recommendation and I'd like to have that.
Right, you got Kelly?
I think you guys have done a great job with what you've got, especially over by the bar. That was one of the big complaints. I've got to be in favor of cutting this. We've got to get a school budget passed, and if one mill is going to be somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000, $32,000 is quite important, and I'm going to be in favor of cutting it. And like Kelly said, this is going to be a year that, in my words, if we had to go with a dirt block somewhere in town, I'd be in favor of it, trying to get the school budget passed. So I'm going to have to be in favor of
What
this.
we'll be left with is state subsidy of 17,000.
Yeah.
And do we have to spend equal that to get it?
I'm not sure. We've never been this close. We've always been-
I think we were that close, yeah, the year before last, so, yeah.
Next year is not going to be any better. The auditor told us to take possibly the $130,000 we're going to get in revenue sharing right out, or figure out the year after. So I don't think this is going to be a bad year. I think there's going to be several bad years coming in a row. So the paving gets put off for another few more years. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of...
When the assessor was here, he also said that we could use it to our advantage to go down and speak with the state, because we are going to be out to the next year, and that's what has been done before by the board, and that had worked before. We don't have a crystal ball. I'm praying to God that it doesn't have 4 or 5 bad years in a row here, and that something's going to turn around. But I think we only go with what we have in front of us right now and where we are right now. That's how I feel about it.
Gary? I'm going to make a motion, we reduce the hot top line by $32,477. Yes, that's what we discussed before.
We will have a town meeting for people to vote on. Yes.
If we keep, last year, we were away from blacktop, taking away from blacktop, we postponed, this one, we were looking at the school, something that we were having a charity involved in, the school would still be repaired. We're going to have a worse year next year, a worse year than the year after. I think this would find more important places to cut than take it away from maintenance of our roads. Some of the roads are really, the people are driving on right now. 2 more years, they're going to be passing.
When we get to the town meeting, if people in the town, want to cut this from the budget, then you vote not to cut it from the budget. What we're doing here is making suggestions of cuts to the town people.
I'm making a suggestion that there's more important places that we can find to cut.
Yeah, how much damage we can do to the plow trucks when we fix these roads? We can end up tearing the plow off the truck. Then we're going to have to fix it. So you're going to go around a couple of streets. Well, you got places in town that really need to be fixed.
Unless you raise $60,000, the big paving companies will look at it. So, chemical amounts, it's not going to make a big difference. Either 50 to 20,000 or go big. I can't say it's go big.
All right. Those in favor? Those opposed? Who's in favor of cutting 30,000? Favor or opposed? Favor. 3 to 2. 3 to 2.
No, Jimmy said he was in favor of cutting.
Okay, police. We have a increase of $24,900. We are transferring 2,000 from the Millinocket ambulance to the police. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments from the board? All those in favor? Opposed? Public Works. We have a total of $2,000, and I also wanted to talk about whether or not to keep a temporary salary amount of $12,481. Kelly?
And that's right, we are in the hospital, correct?
Yeah.
So they would go on the file.
Yes. Comments from the board?
What was that amount, Gary? 12,000 more?
12,481.
What do you think of that move, Steve?
My biggest question on that was, the folks are on call pretty much every other weekend for their own duties. So then if I call them out for snow issues, they double dip it, how's that? Now they're already 4 hours paid for that day, and just a thought.
Like I said, we can bring it to the public, at the town meeting, if they want to put it in there, we can do it, but
We also had hired, out of that 12,000, that was a $12 an hour guy, wasn't it? And if we like he's saying, we have to be careful, because if it becomes a call-in, and we're bringing in 3 or 4 or 5 guys on a big storm, and it's call-in pay, we have to reimburse water and wastewater from this amount, and the $12 was working good. Yep. But the $12 was working good. I'll make a motion that we cut the total of $2,000 from Public Works.
any other discussion from the board?
Flowing.
The $6,000 statement was given to the business model. Where did that come from?
Town meeting. And town meeting, it's budget. All those in favor? Solid waste, temporary line, for temporary line, $2,032.
I'll make a motion, we cut solid waste by $2,032.
Any comment?
What's that figure?
Does that mean anything in there? Yes, it does. It'll be $2,000. That should be, that's just, I think I figured it out, moving over, made somebody call us down, Kelley Michuaud on his vacation, you got somewhere around $62 left over in that position.
This is how we need room to work. I have seasonal employee, he's already in the system, that I work for $12 an hour. He's off season from his regular job, he fill in this, the Jerry, he's got a plastic license. Just give him more flexibility to use the Jerry on a shore move.
You go to the town meeting, you have the town meeting keep it in. Any other questions from the board? All those in favor? All those opposed? 4 to 1. And that's it for budget cut.
Gary?
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that's a total of $123,333 cut from taxation and a $5,656 cut that would have come from surplus.
That's right.
Okay.
That's total.
That's total cuts, and that's total that would have come from surplus. And that'd be a total, Gary, $130,433 in cuts.
I didn't hear you say anything about fluoride. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. And you look around the country and everybody's getting rid of fluoride and water. Yeah, I just don't recommend it. They get too much fluoride. So, and I didn't hear anything about that. Is that already been stopped or is it not?
That was something Blaine had worked on a while back. I've still got all the paperwork from him, and we're going to revisit it. I was strongly against taking fluoride out, but we've now come into a circumstance where the two chemicals are going to have to be separated, which includes building a new building, redoing the pipe that it goes into, or building a wall between the two, but they are fairly close, separating the storage of the chemicals, and if we cut it, that will avoid the cost of redoing that building and the cost of fluoride to the water company.
Would that save us a substantial amount of money?
Yeah, and Blaine brought to me a bunch of ideas the other day. He said he had talked to Gary about them, but I don't think Gary's had time to talk to the board. And Gary, he was full of knowledge, and I think this board's probably going to visit some of those ideas. Part of it included sharing water service with Medway along a more direct route, and that would be a benefit to Medway to attract more business too on their main road if they actually had town water. Blaine's looking for, out of respect to Leroy Michuaud, ways to generate more revenue, especially with Great Northern shut down. And he had a pile of excellent ideas, very respectful ideas, and some of them would help both towns.
Larry, the process to, if we want to get fluoride out, is each Millinocket has to hold an informational meeting. Then Medway has to hold on because we service Wilderness Drive and the school. Then you would have to have a town vote in both towns. And I'm think that's got to be a secret ballot vote, just like they do for elections. I'm not positive. I'm thinking they said it was a secret ballot vote. We've talked about this one time before. So Blaine's got to get all that into the works, and you're looking probably first of the year before we...
I'd say it's, yeah, and it's probably totally a one-year project from start to finish. And
he has to get involved.
And I'd like to talk to Dr. Charette and maybe children's doctors, and like you said, a lot of the places have done away with it anyway. What percentage actually is used to brush your teeth with or rinse your mouth with compared to what goes down the drain? Yep.
The other thing I was going to ask is, when I was on the board, I brought up that why haven't we contacted somebody like Baldwin Springs? We have some of the best drinking water in the state. We got an industrial park, we got a 6-inch main, we put a 12-inch main up there if they're gonna come out. But, like I said, we could, we could supply a bottling company that would have jobs 24/7 and a couple of lines and stuff, and we have excellent drinking water, and they're buying up ponds to supply themselves.
Yeah, that's an idea. It really is. I think,
Gary?
depending on the bottling company and stuff, I know certain regulations and stuff, we put chlorine, fluoride in the water, and
They wouldn't have it in it.
yeah. But
I thought a board had actually asked about that back around your time or shortly after mine.
We didn't know, they wouldn't know.
Yep. And where Poland Springs is making the newspaper now, this might be an important time to hit it. And I'd put Mark on that. Yep. Mark, that's your job.
We talked about this with Frank, and there was another reason. I can't remember exactly what it was, but
and that's what I'm trying to think and remember, right? I think it's like my first year on the board, they brought this up. What was the second? And,
Well, what it was the fluoride.
yeah.
And we get to away with the fluoride, and we got a 800-gallon water tank up there, and we got the pumps and everything. And that might be another good reason to do the fluoride, because we're going to get some, maybe we have a good chance of getting some jobs in the area, some actual jobs. It's an industry, this is going to make food, stuff and water,
I think it would be a good source of revenue, Larry. You're right. We've got artesian wells, and somehow we probably could get it before it get in the system, coming out of the ground, have some offshoot or whatever. But I know at one point we were looking at swapping land with the ministerial lots with that aquifer area and all that stuff, and Marshall came in, remember, at one point?
We own the water rights.
Yeah, I know. So that's...
They can't cut it through.
No.
They can't build a building. They can't do nothing with that land because we own the water rights under it. So we don't have to buy the land.
No,
We don't have to do anything with the land.
Yeah.
But we can drill a well anywhere we want. We own the water rights and we can put a private station. They can charge us a fee for
Yeah.
using the land and that's it.
Yeah. Be worth looking into.
Yeah.
You want me to give him a call, Gary? And I see Hollis probably has the address on that bottle right there, too. You want me to follow up on that, or do you want to?
You want to know together?
Yep.
Someday,
I'll get some lead numbers tomorrow, and we can go from there.
work on my work schedule.
I can talk to you next Monday or Tuesday about it. Okay.
Charlie?
we're certainly going to look into what the capacity is there, because you wouldn't want to sell it and me turn the faucet on and nothing there. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you know, it's not a simple project to say, yeah, you can take 5 billion gallons a day.
Oh, I would say it's important for them to move in the area, they do the research, and, because they want so much more foliage, and so much storage, and so much, you know, they'll do the due diligence.
I want to save money, but I don't want it expensive either.
Yeah.
Well, the mill was always told that we shut the valve off just like that to them. You know, they try to give them a few hours notice, but if something happened at the pump station or whatever, the town comes first. That would be a written agreement to that.
Yep.
The town would always at first.
There must be underground maps that we have, because I remember in history class when I'm learning about that we have underground rivers that have ways, we've got streams on my street.
Probably somewhere down in the building, Frank's got those files away somewhere.
Look in the cabinets, you know, to see what we've got for.
I'm pretty sure down in the water department, Frank has.
The state has the whole thing on the
Yeah. I'm sure, you know Frank, when he used to drive, he had, he's probably got the bill from 1962 when he put in a pump or something, you know? Any other residents' comments?
About this or anything.
And just residents' comments?
I'm under the impression that we have an ordinance or whatever we call them here on unattended burns. Correct?
Unintended what?
Burns. Fires.
Fire. I don't know it offhand what it is.
But it exists.
I think we go by state law.
I think it's a bill, it takes a burn permit. Dick, you might even know some of it. It takes a burn permit if it's not in a fire pit. And we had been addressed at one point years back about fire pits, about the outdoor fireplaces, the outdoor boilers, and I don't think we have any type of ordinance there. It just had to be in a contained fire pit.
Follow the state.
Yeah. And if it was not in a fire pit, you needed a burn permit
Yeah.
from the fire department, and that fit what the weather conditions were.
We can, I'm pretty sure on that, it's by whatever the state rule is.
Is there a specific question you want Gary or someone to check into? Without naming anyone's name? Okay.
First of all, on a day when the mill isn't even open, and the dump isn't even open, 2 hours after they leave, the whole town, from the dump down to Ellis's, is completely covered in a haze of smoke from the dump. That's an unintended burn. Residents burning garbage in a hibachi and then throwing a stick on top of it when the fire department comes wandering down the street and then running inside again because it's been unattended for 2 hours is an unattended burn. One of these unattended burns, it was only a couple days before the dump covered the whole town with smoke, that they had to cut the lock because they didn't know who had the key to the lock, and the fire department had to go in there. Not 3 days before that, one of these fires is going to get out of hand. One of these fires is going to get out of hand, and you're going to have your usual, 2 or 3 firemen that show up. I'm tired of not being able to open my windows. I'm tired of not being able of having to put garbage bags over my air conditioner. And I'm tired of not being able to enjoy my backyard.
Can you address that with Steve later and see what those conditions were, if they've changed?
Burning it up after hours, I really don't think we do that. I mean, that's,
We tried to let the fire burn down before night, but if all the fire come up, they come
got a buffer all the way around it, and usually we stay there until it's down, so it's just smoking is what it's doing.
I have two questions. One question and one statement. Where are we with our service?
I think the figure is 1.4, 1.3, and oh no. That is one.
What was the question?
What was our surplus at? And that is, now I thought it was 1.3 million. I'm not positive.
How does that compare with 6 months?
Excuse me?
How does that compare with 6 months?
We're down about 900,000. What's that?
I'm not, I don't know the question.
What is our surplus right now? 1.3, I think.
You talked about the checking account or the surplus?
Surplus.
Two different things.
1.3?
The checking account. The checking account.
And it was roughly 2.1 6 months ago.
I gave them a weekly update. I don't know if they use it.
We're at 1.3.
So if we go continue where we're going, all once in a while, there'll be no surplus.
And if we keep going where we are.
That's checking account.
What's that?
That was the checking account that we were talking about. The checking account is a different account than the surplus account, is what she said. And she was just going with 1.3 in the checking account. That is where things come in and things get paid out. Just like the other
1.3 million in checking. Well, I asked what was the surplus. Is that include surplus? Or not?
surplus is not a separate cash account.
It's not separate account.
No, it's
So
not.
she just said, which is, you said it's separate.
Two separate things, surplus and checking account.
It's all in one account.
But on your sheet, so it's different, right, Deb? Surplus is a number on your balance sheet.
Well,
It's your asset, your liabilities, your fund balance,
help me understand.
borrowed cash.
If you need to make out a check for $1,300,000, something you can write out a check.
We're not writing a check for a million.
No, I'm just trying to understand this.
The 1.3 million is what is available in the checking account.
That's what's available in the checking account, and that includes the surplus.
Surplus, like I just said, is assets, liabilities, fund balance, is not a separate cash account.
But
It's your net worth, basically, what you have after.
what I'm having a hard time to understand is there's $1,300,000 in checking account.
Money comes in every day, money goes out every day.
So
So in a perfect world, we would send out the tax bills and everybody would pay their tax bill in full on day one.
how much
Then
is
you
the
have
surplus?
all your money in the budget.
How much is the surplus?
I don't have the audit.
I don't have it on there, and we don't have the number right at this moment. Yes,
I wanted to finish my statement.
I think what Hollis is asking
definitely won't. If we do not get our tax bill up, and we do not collect taxes, it will be a problem.
I run a business. I know how much money is in my business. I have a savings account. I know how much money is in the savings account. If I say I need to write out a check for $2,000, I can write out a check for $2,000. I might have to look and say, see, maybe I'm going to take 500 from surplus.
You have another asset, that our cash asset,
So
so that would be part of your asset.
what I'm trying to figure out is, what do you have for certain? She said she has $1,300,000 in checking. How much of that $1,300,000 in checking is surplus?
The town doesn't have a savings account, we have reserve it.
What?
The town doesn't have a savings account.
No.
We have reserve accounts that are designated for certain departments.
Yeah.
That is separate.
How much is designated for surplus?
If you want to come in tomorrow, we can look over the balance sheet, maybe you want to do it.
All right.
The whole thing stems back to that we have the largest taxpayer in town paying the taxes. And a few weeks ago, I asked when we were going to put them on payment. Like we have other people that were running commercial business in this town that didn't pay their taxes, and they were in fear of going under and everything else, and we set up payment plans. And if they missed them, then they lost their car. And I heard we got a Band-Aid yesterday, $28,000. Now, when you owe $800,000, you pay $28,000. That's a Band-Aid. And that doesn't do this town any good. He's talking about where's $900,000 and this and that. If that $700,000 or $800,000 was in there, we would have no problems in this town. But we haven't got it. When are we going to get it? I asked that question. I got a story about $28,000. I'm a little upset that you go after and tell us that you talk to them, they agree to a payment plan, and if they don't meet their payment plan, we put a lien on them and we get our time. That's the way it should be done. And then I hear 30 men. Paper says 20 men. And then I hear there's only 3 people from East Millinocket working down there. So $800,000 is owed us, and we're worried about 3 people's jobs. That's a little bit benign. I think we need our money. We need a payment plan, and we need to know when we're going to get it.
I think that's a really good payment plan. We got $28,000, 7% interest payment. And 3 months down the road, we can get another $28,000 interest payment. We're doing pretty good. That money is guaranteed. None of that equipment is going anywhere. That's going to be there. If we can put interest at 7%, what's the point in getting $600,000 and setting it at 1%?
Well, the point is that this town is going under. So we need our $700,000 or $800,000.
I think we need to have it explained to us, because some people don't see it, what occurs, and Gary and Mark, you were both on the board 3 years ago, when this town goes
for 25 years. And it has been a day that I've had trouble with, putting on my backyard overnight and reading because of it. I don't know where the snow is coming, it's blowing bad on the backyard.
I'll tell you that I've been trail guy for 14 years, I didn't have a problem. They hate it.
Gary, I remember a couple of years ago, walking the slope was coming from the campground. It was something that was blowing this way. The window was blowing up.
Yes.
I didn't see it.
I had Shirley put in your packet some information that I downloaded about domesticated chickens, because we have roosters in our neighborhood, and I don't like getting woken up at 4:45, and they go on until 6:15 nonstop. And I only gave you Brunswick according to that, but most of the communities in New England that popped up, none of them allow roosters in a town setting. And I just would like to see that addressed, and I remember that Steve and Cora came in about the fireworks, so I ran off all those that I found on the internet of the rules that they made up for the fireworks, so if you
I know the fireworks one, the police chief and the guy, yeah, Mike Noble is working on the fireworks.
okay, good.
This new one will be like looking into it, maybe right up the ordinance, and that's no problem. The town, we voted the ordinance, and
The only resort we have right now is the noise ordinance, so we have to call the police, and they come, you know, they're gonna get a lot of calls at 4 in the morning, it's just ridiculous. These words started from when they were chicks, that April or May, whenever they were selling those, and he got his voice like 2 weeks ago, and it's ridiculous. It's really not.
I've had a citizen bring that same complaint to me, and I asked them to bring it to the town office. I don't know if they did. And he said faithfully, right around 4:15 every morning.
Yeah. It is so loud, your windows are shut, and you can still hear this. It's loud.
Excuse me, what did you find in that ordinance? I just skimmed through and I thought it was all fireworks stuff that you were giving us, and it was at the very end.
It was the best, it was like 2 pages, and they talked about things that I hadn't even thought about.
The disease, yeah.
Waste, material that this is going to happen for weeks and weeks and weeks of them staying in that same small pot. And the odor, they had restrictions on that. They had restrictions on absolutely no roosters. They had restrictions on it had to be a hen house, the dimension, how many chickens you could have. The ultimate number I saw was 6, most of them were 5. I mean, it went down through for you. All you have to do is blot out Brunswick and put.
Were these from small towns or rural towns?
Pardon?
Were they from small towns like ours or cities, or they actually allowed them to have some? Gary, can you follow up with code enforcement and Cameron for some ideas?
I mean, it's all on the internet.
Yep.
There's no sense in rewriting rules that are in there that are good, just look at
I think, my goal, I think they said, you just went from Millinocket, so I think we can probably borrow that one right down.
Can we have the board's permission to have Angela put that in our notes to readdress this next week and not let it go?
Yeah.
You've got 7 more days every time we stall, so.
They
Yep.
also had about killing them in your yard, that they did not want that taken
Yep.
in somebody's yard because your lots are so small. So things that we don't think about.
I'll talk to
Yeah,
you
good.
for the next
We have one citizen there.
Yeah, that's it.
I talked to Mike Noble about 3 weeks ago on the same issue, so I was thinking about getting the chicken myself. And I said, I don't want to offend people. And he said, there's absolutely no code. The chicken livestock, there's no code. He said, that you don't want to tick your neighbors off with roosters or smell. He said, that there's absolutely no codes at all. So I contacted the town down here, Shirley and stuff, and everybody goes, oh, no. So I
So it died,
When I
yeah.
got to the bottom, I'm like, wow, why did I do this? You know, and then I was just wondering, and then that's when I found out that you were having a problem. To be really honest with you, I figured that was like state law, you know, not inside a town law, you know. So that was news to me. Both of these were excellent. I actually thought they were very thought out very well. And you can look at Millinocket law in history, I think.
Without stirring up a fight, Tom, from someone that wants some of them, can we get some of the pros as to why we shouldn't approach this, or some help on how to regulate it? These people are talking about roosters and messes.
Well, like Mike said, he said there's no hope.
Okay, I'm not looking for a fight with the people that don't want them, because I'm one of the ones that don't want them, but what are some of the things to be careful of if we push forward for a code immediately? A limit of 6 chickens that are female, or...
Well, there's something in Millinocket that has, and that's what I know.
Yep, and I remember they addressed it.
I just simply, economically, I want to investigate what it would cost for the feed. You know, you got so much, you're going to get a pound in the store. So if I had to feed that chicken, and I think it comes to, you can harvest the chicken probably 4 or 5 weeks, but am I saving money? That would bind it.
Do you mind stopping at the garage, talk to me sometime about some of the pros of having chickens? Because I do want to enact something as far as the roosters. I can't imagine having one next to me. Even though I get up at 5, I don't want to get up at 4.
Basically, the
Yep.
roosters are just going to be somebody's dinner. You
Yep.
can roll down to however length, and that's probably why they don't have them, you know, and the hens are going to lay eggs for you, you know, and they don't talk.
Yep. I just want to be well informed, and I want to do something fairly quick, so thank you.
You can put some information down in writing for us, just so that we can all get the information, because I know you might get it, and I might not see it till that Friday. If you put something in writing, I'm sure we can get it.
Yep.
And I'll have a chance to look at it.
Yeah, I'll try and get a copy of Millinocket, and I'd like to talk to Tom about some of the pros of what we might be harming if we head towards what Millinocket has, but I'm going to strongly support what the citizens have asked me about not. But if there's some rules that bend that allow everybody flexibility, that's what I want to try and bring everything back to the board.
And I'm
Yep.
not against the
Correct, yep.
And it's the rooster.
Yep. And what I want to see is if Millinocket has like a limit of 6, or, yep. Thanks, Mindy.
You can't discriminate against the rooster. Somebody who hens for laying eggs, they have to have a rooster. So if we will allow hens for laying eggs, we don't have to allow a rooster.
Well, go on the internet. There are all the communities. You ought to agree with me.
Is it all right if we have either Angela call Millinocket if they can pass that down to us?
Maybe in our deeds that we have for our houses, something preventing animals. But the old Great Northern Blue laws are still in effect in our deeds. So that's something to look at too. It may be already in there. The attorney could tell you, but it may be already covered.
Okay, yeah, that's something I know. Fine.
I don't mind looking into it, but hopefully Peter doesn't get after us for discriminating against male chickens. So.
Any other comments? Oh, yes, I'll give you that. Let's move on to other. Manuel wanted to mention, September 2nd, the office hours will go back to 8 to 4 on the days that they're open. We have in 1927 probably. This was the only thing that I survived was the lock on the door. Do we want to have the girls contact the line, replace it?
We've gone back and forth for a couple of years on both doors, Bev. We've got estimates out there. One door, if they rattle it at karate, it sets off the alarm. And I don't recall it being that big a number. It was set aside in surplus in the building renovation, wasn't it?
I don't think I ever saw them.
Yeah. I've been trying for a year to bring this to the board, and I think we should be doing something now. And if,
We have $8,000 left in the building renovation fund.
well, I'd hate to see us half-ass something for $500 when we've been talking about 2 doors now for a long time, and eliminate the call-ins on that other door.
The problem was we got one quote for Portland glass and nobody else came in. Got that and nobody else came in. And then we get into budget session and we just kind of work it back well. Yeah.
Has to, excuse me, what'd you say?
Two estimates, right?
Yep.
You got some money left in the budget, why don't you get a little sound deadening in this room? That's one point. Another point is, why did you cancel the meeting last night out of the blue? I had arranged my schedule to be at the meeting last night. I came down, nobody here. I just wanted, do you have that right to change just out of, on a whim of somebody?
Andrew was on vacation, so we moved it to Tuesday night.
Well, like I said, if you advertise it, you should advertise it and have someone change their vacation if they have to.
It was changed actually on Thursday of last week.
Where was it posted? Here?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Okay.
I try to stay away from this place except for Monday.
All right. Yeah, so we get 2 quotes. Portland glass, or we get 4 quotes, that moves down again, see if we get somebody else.
I thought we already got one for this one.
We got one, Portland glass.
Right, so do you need another one from them?
Well, it's a year old, so maybe, that, if we can ask if the Portland glass is still standing, maybe it's probably will.
Did Shirley try to get 2 quotes though, and somebody else didn't show up or something?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to just get this done with. And if Portland glass will launder it, I mean, we've been frigging around for years. It seemed like it was $2,000 some dollars, I don't recall. 28, 26?
Yeah, something like that. Both doors, new doors, casements, and everything.
Excuse me, Kelly, how long are we all set with the padlock system here? A week or 2? Then
Somebody can stick something in it and we can talk.
I'd like to hear Kelly first.
I just like to go by a policy. A policy says we get 2 quotes, get 2 quotes, maybe get a back from the quote. I just like to go by our policy that we have in place, like after the fact, but maybe.
I'm trying to, nothing, you know, a year ago we had Portland glass and really surprised for a year to get somebody else to come in for a quote and they never come in. Mark?
Maybe we call PDQ down to Hamden. They do our overhead doors. See if they give us a quote.
This is the first I've heard. So if she's been trying to do it for a year, this is the first I've heard.
You guys can defeat this, but I'm going to make a motion we spend up to $3,000 from Portland Glass since they are the ones that have been following up with us. And I don't think it's appropriate having a padlock on there, which Bev has found out. And I think I'm going to make a motion for up to $3,000 on both those doors. If it doesn't fit, then we have to readdress it. But out of the what is it, building renovation account, which has approximately $8,000 in it.
Yeah.
Before I vote on that, I want to see a spec or something. $3,000 is pretty expensive for 2 doors. 2 interior doors.
They were a little bit different than interior, and they had the whole thing detailed.
Yeah, I kind of like to see some specs too. That seems awful hard.
Is this something that the auditor did pick up when he was looking at it, that we didn't follow the policy and get to closed or whatever our policy says.
We would make the note that we've been doing this for over a year, and Shirley had followed up and only got one. And we would have to make a note with the motion that that's why we're veering from it.
That this is the first I've heard of it, and I've been on my board since November.
And if there's no second, it dies for a vote.
Why don't we get into next week?
Is there any second first?
I'll second it.
Okay.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay. All right. Two more, three.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Usually Robert's rules of order, before you take a vote, you ask the board, you ask the public. Because there's an important issue here. When you ask somebody for a quote on a job as a retired contractor, usually it's good for 90 days, 3 months. That's it. That quote's done. So if he's blown, you're still on. I was going to just file it.
All right, I need a motion to go into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 405-6A and just discuss administrative positions and in-house applicants. Do I have a motion?
What are the grounds we're going into executive for, though? We're discussing a position that we haven't voted on changing, we haven't voted on posting, and by going into executive, I don't see what we're protecting. I don't see what our right is to go into executive on this. If we're discussing the administrative assistant position, we have to be in open session and talk about whether we're going to post it or why we didn't post it, and if we've changed it and why we changed it, and it has to be in public.
And then I'll posting, and the board have a vote. So it's all three of the board members have to post as it is an in-house vote. And we had 2 applicants that had put in for it.
And I had an issue with a conflict between the chairman and an applicant that I think the chairman should have recused himself from the whole thing. And I feel we have one applicant that was very qualified, and I'm afraid between my mouth and maybe not you recusing yourself that this has harmed that applicant's position. So. And we can't really discuss it, so.
Are you going into executive session to discuss the 2 applicants? Is that what you're...
There are no longer 2 applicants.
I went down to the MMA training night too, and I spoke with the guy sitting down there, and we talked about my situation of being on the board and having people not think that I could be on the board as a teacher. They were joking and saying, you know, he's that little town in Maine who has 2 brothers on it, a husband and a wife on it, because their town is so small. He said, they have towns in Maine, MMA, that have relatives, blood relatives, working side by side on the select board, because their town is so small.
We had 2. Gary and
And they said it was that's why they were laughing and joking about with me, because it was such a non-issue. And it is a civil liberties problem to start telling people who can and who can't be on a board. Just want to get that out there for that.
I'm not going in.
It even appears to be not what it is.
I'm just telling you what MMA says, and
But there's enough people on this board in this town that aren't related to the applicant to be able to do an interview. You have enough people on this board to be able to conduct an interview. You have a 5-member board. You can still conduct an interview without the relative. You have enough people.
My question is, why haven't you take a decision, if you're trying to cut, and you're not cutting, you're moving the shovel under the ground.
That folder,
Why
yeah,
wouldn't we try
she's
to
not right.
fill Shirley's position with job sharing? Instead of getting right up in a hurry, getting behind everybody's back and saying, well, we've got to hire somebody to replace her. Maybe you don't, maybe you don't have job sharing. There has to be less work taking place here now than there was a year ago. There has to be less work than there was 2 years ago, and you got as many employees as you had 4 years ago. So why not try some job sharing? Then save the town $70,000.
The position, part-time,
It doesn't matter. It's for part-time. You're spending money that you don't have. You're spending money that you should save. You should save money.
and we need somebody in there to do the job.
We don't know if we do or not.
Not all,
You don't try it.
all is required, but
Don't get
Kelley.
No, I was going to say that thank you for your comment.
Kelley.
Gary, can I just make a point of clarification? We talked about this before the meeting. If you're actually going to go in, and Clint's right in respect to, like we said, talking about job duties and what you expect this person to do in this office for this town, that's not executive session criteria. But if you are going into to talk about an individual person and their application for this position or their qualities to do this job, you know, then that is, but you need to change the way that your motion is worded or the way that that's worded, it needs to change if you're going to do that, because you can't go into to talk about an administrative, you can't go to talk about a specific job. It has to be to talk about a candidate for that job or a person that you're considering to hire for that job. It has to deal with the person. Anything to do with the job itself and the expectations and the duties of that job are public. So you would need to reword your...
That, the way it's written here, comes from a law, one MRSA 405-6A, and that's the wording with it. I get what you're saying, but that's the wording that's here.
It would be a personnel issue with an employee regarding additional job duties, or, I mean, you can't discuss the job duties of like the public works director or administrative assistant or any department head or whatever. You have a job description and their job duties, which is public information.
We're a small town, we don't have all the law. You can do what small towns do.
And I'm very uncomfortable proceeding with this. I'm afraid I've offended one of the applicants that's pulled their application because we've done all this behind the scenes. And I don't think that applicant is aware of anything. I mean, the citizens aren't aware of anything that's going on here. We've done this all behind everybody's back. And I don't want to offend a very qualified person that had applied for this.
We do this every day. Every day we get a phone call from our administrative assistant, every day, and on something. And she asks for she looks for 3 of us, every day. It was done, it was posted, it was posted right out here in 2 places, I think. As an in-house posting, which is usually what you do when you do have a job. I asked to make sure about that because I knew this was going to become a problem. Usually that's the process is we proceed with in-house placement to see if anybody wanted the position, and then you can look outside. So the way it was done is okay. I agree that somebody might be offended, and I don't blame them if they were. Because all of this stuff happens outside, it gets all over the place, instead of happening face-to-face with that particular person. And I think if I know what we're going into, if I understand what we're going into, we're going into discuss the job that was posted as administrative assistant. With attached to it was the duties of that. I am not aware of us not wanting that person to do any different duties. I'm expecting that part-time person, if they want that, they've seen what the duties are, to give it a try with those duties. So I'm not expecting to go in and say, oh, cut this, cut that, cut this, cut that, at this point. That's where I feel we are at this point. And that's where I understood where we were
But
going.
you can't talk, job duties are public.
Number one, anything to do with the job duties are in public. And once again, I'm afraid we've scared off one of the applicants, and I feel it's my fault. Kelley, yes, I admit, we get these phone calls every day, and if 3 people are okay with it, it's a done deal. It's not, you don't do a straw poll to make a done deal and a vote. You do a straw poll to inform the board and see if you want to go forward with it. Then you bring it back here. Not a done deal. And for the past year, we've done straw poll votes that are a done deal. We walk in here and the citizens have no idea what we've done.
I just want to say that we didn't have to vote on that, and you are right. Citizens don't have any idea.
In-house posting can be posted at any time. Check this out.
I questioned this last Friday. It surely did pull out the paperwork saying that we can do it, so. Because I had concerns also, but.
I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to MRSA 406A to discuss in-house applicants for administrative assistant position. What?
I'm asking the board to revisit this, post it, and give the other qualified applicant a chance to actually know what we're doing here. The one that pulled their application.
We have nobody in that office right now. No one. No one can handle anything that comes.
Well, Frank Kluge's not here. Appoint him for the next 7 days.
That's a no.
What she said, I didn't hear.
Was there opposition to Gary being on the board because Bev was an employee here?
No. I feel like I am all the time. You think? No. Call it, I know, if you don't guess, and I'm not going to accept it any further.
Go get it over with.
Can I just, I think,
going
just
in.
as a point of order, Gary, you have to rescind, somebody made a motion, and I don't know if it was seconded, the first one was seconded. I think you might have to rescind just as a point of order.
The first one, no,
There was no second? Okay.
There was no motion.
Kelley will answer your question, it's okay. She can answer your questions. But I heard a law, it says if we don't need a administrative assistant, then how do you? And I heard a lot of talk that we need to cut budgets. And I've heard a lot of talk on how we took money from cut the budget because we took this job over here, we put it over here in the regular bill. This, and so we cut the budget.
I agree we need someone that people can answer to. And that job description should be an open description right here, right now, if we're making it part-time. And I personally am upset that I may have offended an applicant. And I think that job description should be made public to the people, and if it's going to be part-time, how part-time it is. And then the applicants have a fair chance at it.
Kelley?
I understand what you're saying. I understand that you feel like you offended somebody. But just because you feel like you offended somebody doesn't mean that we do anything different. It happened, so now the next time maybe it won't happen, and we should go on with our business as usual.
Correct.
I don't get anything done.
Kelley?
It was a while back, not too many months ago, that our attorney says you guys can do anything, and you sure took it to heart. And we've been suffering since then. It didn't elevate you to gods, as far as I can see, but that you do what you want, not what these people want, and that disturbs me.
I'm going to ask for the last time that this board revisit this with a full job description, whether it's part-time, whether it's full-time, and what's expected of that person, and allow the applicants a fair chance to have an application. If that person wants to not apply, I want them to know what the description was. And the only reason I'm even balking at this is I want the public to know what we're doing.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. And call for a vote. You want to go into executive session? Vote yes. You don't want to go into executive session? Vote no. All those in favor of going into executive session? All those in favor nod. It's 4-1.
I want it stipulated, though, we're not going to discuss the administrative
Duty.
assistant position and what she's going to be doing. We're just going to be talking to the candidate for the job.
That's right.
Is it possible to get a copy of that job description? Is it this, and can I just ask, is it the same one that Shirley was hired under? Is it her same job description? So it's a full-time, you're advertising a full-time position, but you're asking people to do it part-time? I'm just asking for a clarification. You've got the job description is for a full-time position, but you've said here you want the person to do it on a part-time basis. So you're asking them to do a full-time, what was before a full-time job, as a part-time job.
Okay.
Thank you. It's just a point of clarification.
I'm not going in with them. I'm leaving.
Okay, so my favorite part used to be with